Minglawa, welcome to MITV special talk show Perspectives. For this show, we have invited Honorable guest speaker Wu Echan, who is Councillor of Myanmar Press Council and also Chairman of Myanmar E-Commerce Association and also Deputy Chairman of Myanmar Digital Economy Association of UMFCCI. Minglawa Sia, thank you very much for your time. And for getting the car policy right, please tell us the relationship between car policy and economic growth.
Well, car policy somehow influences economic growth and the economy in some ways. Because, for example, if you don't get the car policies right, there will be congestion across the country and the cities. So once you have congestion, you have logistics issue. Things cannot reach to their destination in time, right? So congestion is negative to the economy. Yes. So that's the first thing. And also, if you don't get the car policies right, you will not be getting the correct amount of taxes that the country needs, right? So you lose your revenue, the country's revenue, because you will be taxing the wrong things. Yeah, that's the second part, how they contribute. The next one is, if you have the smooth flow of traffic and smooth flow of logistics, you will increase the FDIs in the country, foreign direct investment. So that directly contributes to the economic growth too. The last point is, the faster things move, the faster the productivity, right? People don't have to move or get stuck in traffic. So the more productivity there is, the higher will be the country's GDP.
Yes, I see. So the current car policy, what is your opinion?
Okay, the current policy is mainly based on the import control. They don't want so many cars within the country, right? So they control the import. So they via import taxes, custom duty, etc. So they make the car expensive. The government make the cars expensive. Yeah. So in a way, and also it has to be that way because we need to have the balance of trade, the balance between imports and exports. Otherwise, we will not have enough foreign currency in the country. So because of that, cars are also regarded as luxury items. So they put a lot of import taxes and custom duties on the cars. So the cars generally become expensive. So the current policy is, controlling the import of the cars into the country. So that is not addressing the congestion issue. Because once you buy the car, right, since you already pay so much for it, what would you do? Because start using more. Right, even you can go without car, you will still use car because you already pay so much. And plus, because the cars become so expensive, the young people become demotivated to work harder. Why? Because the cars are so expensive. So it's very difficult with their current salaries. They can no longer afford. They can never be able to own a car. So what's the point of working so hard? Because I can't even own a car anymore. So it acts as a sort of a demotivating factor for the young people to work harder. Yeah, so that is the current policy is having that. So the policy is not addressing the congestion issue. It addresses the balance of trade issue. It addresses the car population issue, but it doesn't address the congestion and the resultant economic growth impact issues.
So we need to reduce the import revenue.
Well, it's a balance between the usage tax and the import tax.
I see. Yeah. Okay. So the world trend on car usage, what is internationally?
The current world trend is, especially in the Western developed world, the people are more becoming anti-car. And they do not want to use the cars anymore. Yeah. For example, in US, they did a measure in 1983, right? Like 40 years ago. So it's like there you have like 1 in 12 people is without driving license. 1 in 12 people. Now in 2023, 1 in 5 people do not have driving license, youngsters, below at the age of 25.
Why?
Yeah, okay. And also it's not US alone. In UK also, if you measure 20 years ago, for 25% of the teenagers do not have driving license. Now it's like 40% teenagers, they don't have driving license. So the number of people wanting to own a car and wanting to use the car has gone down. It's an anti-car. Just now the question why is it falling? Yeah, that's probably the next question, the next logical question. Number one is, the wages here, the wages these days, there are more or not so well paid jobs in the Western world. You know, people are having their incomes are not sufficient, so it's become more difficult to afford a car. Yeah, and the next one is the decline in home ownership. You know, people are owning less homes. More young people are living in rental properties. So if you haven't owned a house yet, the car is always secondary to the house. You got to buy a house first, then you buy a car. So that's why the car is not that priority anymore. You got to own a house first because they don't normally live with the parents. That's the second one. The third one is, you know, these days people are educated longer and longer. Because previously, you know, if you graduate out of matriculation, it's okay, you can join the workforce. Right? If you have A-level, you can join the workforce. Nowadays, no. If you want a decent job, you need to be a graduate. Graduate is not enough. You need to have masters. You need to have higher than masters. You need to have professional qualifications. So because of that, people are taking longer and longer education time. And a lot of them, they have student loans. So which means it takes longer. It takes longer to buy a car. Yeah, so that's the next one. The next one is, you know, these days, especially in the big cities, they have a lot of ride-sharing applications because of technology, such as Uber, Lyft. You know, here we have Grab. Yeah, so these things. So with that, so easy to get a ride. So you can go without the problems of the car, owning a car. So that's also reducing the need for car. And the other way, normally the higher insurance premiums for the young people. Normally, the younger you are, the higher motor insurance premium, because you are likely to have enter into more accidents if you're young, if you're youngster. So the high insurance premium. So that's why there's also a negative point to own a car while you're young. The second last point is the higher petrol cost. Right? Compared to like 4 or 5 years ago, the petrol cost is so cheap. Nowadays, the petrol costs are higher. Not the fuel cost, diesel, petrol, 95, 92. The costs are very high. So people, you know, go without cars in the big cities, especially in the West and developed world. Yeah, and the last point is a climate change concern. Because when there is a global warming and climate change, because cars emit the CO2, CO, that increases the climate change and global warming. So people are more environmentally aware. So as a result, they try to go without cars.
So as you have mentioned about owning a car, without owning a car, young people, they will have a demotivation. But these days, in modern world, especially in big countries, people, they do not want to own a car rather than sharing or hiring a car instead of owning a car. So there is a generation gap, or maybe these are the trend of the changing world.
Okay. When you are also right. Like it's sort of like you can say that it's like conflict like that. But at the same time, it is not. The reason being is when we are talking about anti-car, people not wanting to use cars. It's more in the West and more in the developed world. But in the developing world, the car population is not sizable yet. Right? Especially for example, like in Myanmar, the car ownership per capita is so low. It's probably the lowest in Southeast Asia. Yeah, so it's so low that, you know, people still want to buy cars, right? And some of our public transport system is not that efficient and not that advanced. So, you know, if you want to go from one place to another, you know, one city to another city, the best mode of transport seems to be cars, right? So people still want their own cars. So by having the car, making the car so expensive, you know, the cars become out of reach for a lot of youngsters and young couples. That's what those. So you have to see the difference between developed world and
the situation.
Yeah, developed world and the developing Myanmar.
I see. Okay. Now, the current status of Yangon traffic.
Well, Yangon traffic is right now because, you know, nowadays a lot of businesses are back to close to normal. So traffic is pretty bad. Yeah, other than Sunday, everywhere is jammed. Especially, you know, it's quite bad because normally the artery roads, the one that are going down to the Yangon city, like the Pye Road and Gabai Pagoda, even the roads are so jammed, right? Almost every day, other than Sunday, because that is not so good from the congestion and from the economic and from the productivity perspective. Yeah.
Yes, comparing with during the COVID period, the traffic is so thin. Yeah. So now it's becoming back to normal. Okay, so what is the fundamental thing we need to agree on the control of the congestion?
Okay, we have to, all the advanced countries and almost all the policy makers of the world agree that, congestion is not caused by car ownership. Congestion is caused by car usage. So that concept, we have to get it right first. So if you want to control the congestion, you do not have to control the car ownership. Because you can, for example, I will tell you, let's say you're a millionaire, you can have 10 cars in your house. As long as you don't use any of them, it will not contribute to congestion. Right? Congestion is there, the traffic jams are there because what? People use the car. Right? So if you own and you don't use, it will not contribute to congestion. Right? I may own 3 cars, but I don't use any of them. Then how do I cause traffic jam? Then but you are going to ask, hey, if I own a car, I don't use that, how? Well, the thing is, the government have to put measures to tax on the usage. So in order to prevent what? Congestion. Right? If you have to pay money to use the car, then you try to find ways not to use it. Yeah, then it will control the congestion a lot.
Okay, so how are other countries doing?
Okay, other countries' control of congestion, as I mentioned just now, congestion is very negative to the economy and is very negative to the economic growth. Yeah, traffic jams, no businesses like it. Yeah, or you go to office, you encounter traffic jam. How do you go like that? Right, so you cannot.
During the traffic, you take 1 hour.
Yeah, correct. So you
late
can't
for
do
your
anything.
meetings.
Yeah, correct. You can't do anything. You lose your productivity, so you cannot experience traffic jams for that long without having negative impacts on the economy. Yeah. So other countries, the key thing is to control the congestion. Congestion means to control the car usage. Make sure people don't use the car so much. So this one, I did a question on the ChatGPT, which is now the most popular artificial intelligence model out there in the world. Right? They give a few answers that a lot of countries are using. Number 1, improve the public transport. If public transport is good, why would you want to use your own car? Right? That's why a lot of people, even though they own a car, a lot of times they use a taxi. Why? Because taxi, you don't have to bother about having accidents and a headache, and you can also work on the taxi, right? If you drive your own, how to work on while you're driving? Yeah. So the first one is you have to improve the public transport. Okay. The second one is carpooling. Encourage people not to to be in the ratio of 1 car 1 person, right? So if you are my neighbor, you live next to me, I can bring you along in my car. By doing that, instead of using 2 cars, we only use 1. Using less cars reduces congestion, reduces traffic jam. Right? So if you have a family of 4, you have 4 cars. But if they share, they only use 1 car. So that's the key thing, carpooling. Okay, that's the second one. The third one is the congestion pricing, which means countries like London, Singapore, Stockholm, New York, right? Or Milan, whenever cars go into the big city, you have to pay. Right? In Singapore, every morning you say you are living outside the central area, you go into the central, you're going to pay $10 toll fees. Yeah, toll fees. Yeah, in London, you got to go big into the London city, £25 a day. So which means, normally, right, if Yangon, right, if you want to use P Road and you got to pay 5,000 kyats, people will think twice, 3 times before using the big road to go into the city. By doing so, or people will share the car, right, and then split the toll fees. Doing that, the traffic will be very, very smooth. So a lot of big cities, many governors of the big cities, they are implementing this congestion pricing, which is the toll fees. Right? Normally, like Singapore, they don't have any toll fees on the Saturdays. Right? The traffic is easy. And the main thing is you got to give priority to the economy, priority to the workers, right? To have a smooth flow of traffic. So during the rush hours time, during the working days time, you want to go into the big city with the rest of the people, be prepared to pay money. Yeah, that is the most efficient model that a lot of big cities are using. And the second last one is you have to encourage active transport, like riding the bicycle, or active me, or where you have to use your own, or the one that electric bike also okay, yeah, bicycle or sometimes walk if it's nearby. So you encourage that. And the last point is that the government through the use of ID manage the traffic lights and traffic flow, intelligent traffic systems. Yes, we were using somehow some parts of the traffic light systems here, but that alone is not sufficient. Because we have to control the car usage. Without controlling the car usage, traffic jams will never disappear.
So if you have to pay your money for using the road, then they have to consider twice.
Correct. Then that's the only way to control the traffic.
So what benefits will be to our country?
Think about it, right? Our big CEO from whether Microsoft or whatever, Elon Musk or whatever, they want to come to Myanmar, right? They will land at the Yangon International Airport, and they will go where? They will go stay downtown in Pan Pacific or Shangri-La Hotel, right? So that CEO from Yangon International Airport took 2 hours to reach to downtown Yangon. What will he think of Myanmar? He will think Myanmar is so stupid. They can't even manage this traffic. So stuck. How to invest in this country? And his concept will be like that, right? The government can't even control the traffic at all. How can they do big things? Also, that will be in Bill Gates or Elon Musk or that type of people's mind, or Samsung CEO, right? Is a traffic jam. But imagine whoever the big CEO come to the airport. And from Yangon International Airport downtown to Shangri-La or Pan Pacific, he only take 15 minutes or half an hour. What do you think he will think about Myanmar? He will say, "Wow, Myanmar so efficient. Wow, so good. This country very good. I must come and invest." Yeah, correct. So that's why. But then did he think about? Will he think about that CEO or whatever? Let's say Bill Gates. Will he think about paying $5,000 for toll fees? No, he will just pay. Right. So that payment is so immaterial. But the benefit of the country from having a smooth flow of traffic is enormous. He will be impressed. All the big CEO, all the foreigners, they'll be so impressed because the traffic is so smooth. Wow, you never seen that in Asian countries. So by association, they will also think that the government is very good, very efficient. They can manage these things very well. And that's why that is an important thing. So that will be a extra positive to the economy. Plus, we will not tax the wrong things. Instead of shift the import tax and custom duty to the usage tax, right? Instead of because import tax and custom duty make the car so expensive, so reduce there. Then where do you get back the money? From the usage. You want to use P Road. You want to use Kabaya Pagoda Road. You want to go into the Yangon downtown. Be prepared to pay money. Yeah, by doing that, obviously buses don't have to pay. Yeah, or private cars. Yeah, correct. Private cars collect from them. Then the car population that go into the city or daily usage of the car. I'm talking about Monday to Friday only. Not Saturday, Sunday. You want to visit your relative, you don't have to pay. Let's say your mother live downtown. You go there. It's okay. Weekend, no need to pay. Right? But weekday, when you want to go together with a Samsung CEO or Microsoft CEO, Bill Gates down there to the city, I think you have to pay because they need the roads to be free more than yourself going down into the city for work. Yeah, so that's something. Work also same thing. If you are normal clerk or assistant or whatever, you can take the public transport.
Yeah.
Right, then it's okay. But if you're a CEO, pay 5,000 and you can reach that faster.
Yeah.
Because baseline CEO is more important than the average worker baseline. Yeah? So that's a fact. So, and also by reducing the car prices, you have a more motivated workforce.
Yes.
You have people motivated because I can work harder, I can own a car.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Siat. Thank you very much for your insightful discussion, and it will be very interesting to our audience. You have been watching MITV Perspectives. Thanks for joining us.